Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari returns to Nigeria after attending the 72nd session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Gunmen kill 3 policemen, abduct Chief Executive Officer at the Ogba Zoo and Nature Park in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Tension in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, as gunmen storm Olubadan's palace, shooting to disperse crowd attending chieftaincy title ceremony. And North Korea accuses US of declaring war, says it has right to shoot down US bombers. A quick reminder now that for more on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. And log on to m.channelstv.com to watch us on your mobile device, or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. The Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You also have access to the Eyewitness feature, with which you can share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu, and then follow the instructions. Now let's take a look at some of those pictures that were sent in to us. We can begin with this picture of a flooded area in Ndokwa East local government area of Delta State. Our Eyewitness reporter is asking the government to support the residents there. Next is this picture of a collapsed building in Isiago area of Enugu State. Our Eyewitness reporter says it was caused by a flood following a heavy downpour. And she says victims of the disaster are pleading with the government to come to their aid. Let's move on to this environmental hazard with this picture of a damaged portion of the Western Avenue Bridge in Lagos State. Our Eyewitness reporter alleges it's been in that state for several months and causes heavy traffic in that area. Our final picture is from Abuja, the federal capital, showing a non-functional traffic light. Our Eyewitness reporter alleges it's a deliberate act of vandalism and wants the police to watch out for such criminals. Thanks a lot for all your pictures, and do keep them coming. Oil prices hit a new high of $57 per barrel today, giving energy firms a boost. It's the highest rally in over a year, although it was not enough to offset losses of some tech-focused companies listed on the Nasdaq. Our correspondent Olu Phillips takes a look at the latest rally and its implication for the Nigerian economy.
International benchmark for crude oil, the Brent, today hit a new high of $58 per barrel for 2017, continuing a rally driven by improving demand and expectations that producers will extend output cuts.
Want to make an opening statement? Or?
Last Friday, the meeting of the 5 Nations Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee of OPEC and non-OPEC countries in Vienna, the Austrian capital, endorsed further exemption from the crude oil output cut deal, which was agreed upon by OPEC member countries in January for Nigeria's crude oil production until it stabilizes. The increase in oil price comes at a time that the country exits its first and worst recession in 25 years, which were worsened by frequent spate of bombings in the Niger Delta region, along with a weak purchasing power in the nation's currency. The U.S. government's Energy Information Administration and France-based International Energy Agency have both raised oil consumption forecasts for 2017 and 2018, further lifting growth optimism for the country's economy. At a point, Nigeria's crude oil output dropped to 1.3 million barrels per day against the 2016 budget benchmark of 2.2 million barrels per day, while the oil price dropped to 2016's low of $27 per barrel in February, far below the $38 estimate in last year's budget. With oil prices hitting its highest level in more than a year and the federal government's assumption of $4.50 per barrel for the country's current budget, analysts suggest that the increase is a blessing for the country's oil-based economy, which will allow the government to achieve its growth target for the country's economy of 3.2% in 2017 and 4.8% in 2018, as well as lift the country out of the doldrums of recession. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
To discuss oil prices, the new high and its implications for Nigeria, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the CEO of Shoreline Natural Resources, Dr. Ladi Bada. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much.
And already you hear people say this is good news for us in terms of our budget and in terms of, the prices, the economy? What do you think?
I think it's good news for the oil companies, but brilliant news for the country. I mean, obviously, we've had a difficult, say, 2-3 years with lower prices and also with output cuts from militancy and other things that's broken the production. But I think now that production is stable, we're almost doing 1.7, 1.8 million barrels now in a stable manner, and oil price is moving 55 and upwards, and I think it's brilliant for the country. Well,
this doesn't just happen. Of course, there's always the politics of oil pricing. You've talked about us leveraging on that output cut from OPEC. How can we leverage on that now that it is where it is? This is not the first time that, we'd have this sort of jump or so.
Well, we still have quite a bit of headroom in terms of the output cuts. As you know, the output cut from OPEC is 1.2 million barrels, and it's up till March 2018. Out of that 1.2 million barrels, my understanding is that we've covered about 550,000. That's between Nigeria and Libya. And Nigeria still has quite a bit of way in which I think OPEC will still allow Nigeria to at least continue to produce extra, maybe into 1.8, 1.9. So there's still room for growth. And for the nation itself, that's additional income that's coming from increased production also.
Remember, the critics always talk about the fact that we did get to over 100 at some point. What did we do with it? And here we are again, bringing this sense of hope. And in terms of investment outlook, what should we be doing right now that is going in our favor, if we can put it that way?
I think we've all been whipped into shape. Both oil companies and the country have all been whipped into shape. We were spot rotting by $100 oil. And I think at this moment in time, all of us now are a whole lot more prudent. As I said, both the producers and also the country itself. So all of us now have been able to manage much leaner resources and be able to cut our costs. The Minister of Petroleum especially, along with NNPC in recent past, especially within the last few weeks, have called both the IOCs and the indigenous companies into meetings to try and find ways to reduce costs. We believe by reducing costs and reducing contracting cycle, even with the production that we have more income coming through. But in terms of the outlook for the country itself, there's been a lot of fantastic things that Nigeria is now doing based on the fact that we see lower prices. One of them, obviously, is alternative funding. As you know, funding has been probably beyond the production costs for militancy. Funding has been the biggest problem in the upstream oil and gas business. And now with alternative funding in place, we also have some companies doing vendor financing with the likes of major international service companies like Schlumberger, GE. I think there's a lot of opportunities for next year.
In terms of it being sustainable, to those who think, is this flash in the pan, what's your prediction for the rest of the year? Do you see this continuing?
Well, I don't see it continue possibly beyond 60. But even right now, I'll tell you what, at 50, 55, most people are happy. When you have same 30 and you have 50, you will be happy. But what we generally feel is that if you check globally, there's strong demand globally. You see that economies are in likes of the US, in Asia, and also in the European Union. They're quite robust right now, and their growth trajectory right now within the next 12 months seems to be good. So just simply based on demand, we expect to have oil prices to at least remain stable. Supply might be a bit shaky, but we expect demand to be strong. And with good demand, we expect prices to remain at least around this kind of figures. All
right, CEO, Shoreline Natural Resources, Dr. Ladi Bada, thank you for joining us on the News at 10 tonight. Let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Gloria Umezoke. Hey, Gloria.
Hello, Ijoma. The police in Borno State have arrested some internally displaced persons protesting against what they call their overstay at IDP camps in Maiduguri. The Sunday staged a walkout of their temporary shelter at the camp and headed for their villages on foot. But their hopes of getting home was cut short by the police, who stopped them from leaving the camps. The IDPs claim that their lives have been miserable and insecure for 3 years. Most of them were displaced from their homes in 2014 by Boko Haram insurgents. Bama is one of the worst-hit local government areas in Borno State by Boko Haram militants. The local government has also suffered the highest casualty from the insurgents. There has been a shake-up in the Adamawa State House of Assembly with the replacements of most of the principal officers in the chamber. The lawmakers at today's plenary passed a vote of no confidence in the Deputy Speaker and other principal officers of the chamber, except the Speaker, Kabiru Mijinyawa. According to the new majority leader, the move is in order to achieve better synergy between the leadership and members of the House, and nothing to do with interference by executive arm of government. The senator representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Dino Melaye, says the recall exercise that was initiated by his constituents has elapsed as the 90 days fixed by the 1999 Constitution for the exercise to be concluded ended on the 23rd of September. According to the lawmaker, he will not aid and abet the Independent National Electoral Commission as it will amount to infringing on the 1999 Constitution. The lawmaker says his position is backed by several Supreme Court cases and that the time frame stated in the Constitution cannot be amended by the pronouncement of a court of law.
It is therefore crystal clear that by the provisions of Section 69B of the 1999 Constitution, INEC must act on the petition purportedly presented to it on the 23rd of June 2017 by conducting this referendum within 90 days of the receipt of the petition. In this case, INEC received the petition on the 23rd of June 2017. The 90 days period as provided for in the Constitution for conducting the referendum after due verification elapsed by efflution of time on the 23rd day of September 2017. The time as provided for in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria having elapsed by exclusion of time, I, Senator Dino Melaye, cannot and shall not under any circumstance aid and abet INEC to further desecrate and infringe on the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which I have sworn to defend. Gentlemen of the press, my position in this matter has been affirmed by various Supreme Court decisions.
When the News at 10 returns, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board begins Research and Development Fair and Conference in Lagos. That's after the break. Let's join us here.